Does your mind keep blanking out when speaking to people? It's impossible to articulate what you want to say, and it can be completely embarrassing. It can be downright humiliating to become completely non-functional like that in front of people. So if that's something that you're experiencing, stick around, because in this video, I want to help you understand why your mind keeps blanking out like that and what to do so that you can start minimizing these occurrences, these embarrassing situations, and moving forward, you can articulate yourself the way you want to. You can speak powerfully, contribute, connect with others. Let's go. And if you're already a part of our community, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rubin and I'm a transformational coach. This channel and community is dedicated to reducing your social anxiety, owning your worth, and expressing yourself fearlessly. If that's something that you resonate with, welcome home. You're in the right place. Okay, and it's very important to understand that this mind blanking problem, this blanking out right in the middle of a conversation, mid-sentence, completely blanking out when you're trying to give presentations and do public speaking, it's an adaptation. It's a defense mechanism that you developed in your childhood or your teenage years. This adaptation, checking out, essentially what this is dissociation. You're checking out of your body, shutting down your rational thinking. Rational thinking, let's think about that. Your rational thinking goes out the window. You check out of your body. Why? Because when you were young, when you were a teenager or when you were a child, you went through some experiences where you had to check out of your body. It wasn't safe to be in your body. And what I mean by that, the external situation that you were witnessing, it was far too volatile, far too painful, far too overwhelming, to the point where it was too stressful and overwhelming inside, to the point where you had to learn to chronically, over and over and over again, sometimes it could be something very traumatic, check out of your body, check out of this war zone that's happening in here because of the war zone that's happening out there. And out there is not something abstract. Let's give you some really key examples here that our students in Trigger Free have dealt with, have worked through, myself as well. For example, watching your dad beat your mom as a kid. Think about the fear running through you as a little child, the level of fear. So again, this is not some sort of social rejection that hurts more the heart. This is full on terror, absolute terror. The level of fear running through your body, it's way too overwhelming that you have to check out of your body. You don't want to be sitting there thinking and processing about what's going on. Think about that. Watching your dad beat your mom, do you really want to be there in your body thinking about what's going on as a 5-year-old? No. So that's one example. Another example is, for example, physical violence. Remember, we're talking terror, where you completely go into shock in the moment, completely overwhelmed. For example, some of our students have witnessed some of their friends getting jumped by a group of people. They've gotten jumped by a group of people. And again, it's that helpless, completely helpless situation that you have to develop the strategy to check out of your body and get out of your rational mind within that situation, because there is no rationality to what's going on. It's violence, for example. So for you, what I want you to understand, if we can go back, we go back to the little boy, he's watching domestic violence in the home. There's two key things that he needs in that moment. So he's watched the violence. He's watched his beloved mom, for example. She's gotten hit. Okay, she's in a lot of pain. And so for the young boy, for example, what does he need? He either needs help, or he needs to be taken out of there. Probably both. He needs to be taken out of that volatile and painful situation right away. He needs help to process his emotions and work through the shock so he can come out of the shock that he's in and get back into his body. So let's recap that. He needs help and he needs to leave. And I want to bring this back to what you want to do in a conversation, because what you are essentially doing when you check out of your body and you are blanking out in the conversation, you're recreating these experiences that you went through when you were younger. So think about it like this. You're in the conversation, you completely blank out and check out. You don't have access to your rational thinking within the conversation. All cognitive processes have been shut down. And you're left there to your own devices. You can't even get out. You don't have thoughts coming in. You can't ask for help because it's too embarrassing, it's too humiliating. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? And what I want you to understand, the most important thing that you have to do in those moments is stop creating your past. So what are those two things? You have to ask for help and you have to give yourself permission to leave. Because you have to cut down the episodes of you dissociating out of your body so you can disrupt the pattern and you can give yourself the message as an adult that it's safe to be in my body. It's safe to be in my body. Possibly it's safe to be in this conversation. Remember, we're dealing with absolute terror running through you. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't feel that much terror, and I don't get that nervous. Well, because you're already checked out. You're walking around throughout your day in a dissociated state because it's been too overwhelming in your body that you just check out as the norm. That's just your normal way of being, living in your head. And if this sounds like you, I want to offer you a free masterclass. The link is below the video. Take the masterclass because I want to walk you through how to reduce that social anxiety, how to reduce the anxiety so you stop blanking out and checking out of your body. Because when you do that, when you feel safe and secure in your body, you'll be able to own your worth. And when you own your worth and you're connected to your body, you're going to find that fearless self-expression. Again, link is below the video. Empower yourself with that training today. So let's get back here. You're in the conversation and you've gone blank. You've lost your train of thought. Let's go back to the 5-year-old. What's the one thing he couldn't do? He couldn't get help. He couldn't ask for help. Nobody was around. It was a completely helpless situation. He's watching this thing go down. Mom couldn't help him. Siblings were too terrified to help. Completely helpless. We got to shift this narrative right away. So when your mind goes blank in a conversation, I want you to ask the other person if it feels safe to do so. I want you to ask the other person for help. So for example, hey, I just lost my train of thought there. Can you remind me what we were talking about? Ask for help. You're going to shift the narrative that it's all on your shoulders and you're in shock and you have to process everything yourself and stay in your head. You're going to get out of it by asking for help. Okay, so find different ways to ask for help. You can write them down, different phrases that you could skillfully ask for help, like what we just did. I lost my train of thought. Can you help me out here? What were we talking about? Or you could just be more honest about it. For example, my mind went blank. Can you just bring me home here? Or I was going off on a tangent. Can you bring me home to what we were talking about? Ask for help. Get the other person involved to give yourself the message that you don't have to stay in shock and deal with everything yourself like you did have to when you were young. The other option here, give yourself permission to leave the conversation. Okay, so this is the first line of attack here. Is we're going to try to get the other person involved to get ourselves out of our head and back into our body. If that is not enough, it's too overwhelming, you're completely blank, do not stay in the conversation. Let's go back to the 5-year-old. He's in complete shock to what he witnessed. Mom's getting beat up, or maybe his friend's getting beat up, or maybe he's just curled up and people are beating him. You have to get that young part inside you out of the conversation or out of the environment. So give yourself permission to leave. And this, again, you want to learn skillful ways or phrases to get you out of the conversation. So for example, hey, I got to let you go. I got to get going here. Mine's going blank. It's getting too overwhelming. I got to let you go. I got to get going here. Hey, I'm great speaking with you. Enjoy the rest of your day, but I got to get moving here. Very skillful ways, very firm and assertive ways to leave the conversation. Do not worry about being awkward. Do not worry about how you're coming across. This is about making the young 5-year-old, getting him to safety. I have to say that again. You have to understand this. Get the 5-year-old the help he needs and get him to safety. Because going back, what did the 5-year-old do? If he stays in the conversation, it's like the 5-year-old, he's in shock and he sees his siblings looking at him, his mom's looking at him. All he sees is eyes on him, but nobody's helping him. That's going to make it worse. So you're in the conversation, you've dissociated, you've checked out of your head, mind's gone blank, and the other person's just looking at you, or the other people, maybe you're doing some public speaking, all these eyes are on you. Nobody's helping. I want you to help him out. I want you to help him out, and I want you to get him out of the conversation. Because once you do that, once you have this option, you give yourself the option to leave. It's no longer going to feel like you're trapped and you can't get out. And if you're watching this video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. Mine's gone blank. I'm trapped. I can't get out of here. I'm stuck in my head. There's no way out. Well, this is your way to change that narrative running through your subconscious mind. Okay, so you want to shift from worrying about what the other person's thinking, how you're coming across, and shift from this place, because what you're doing, you're essentially just re-traumatizing yourself over and over and over again, and you're making this a lot worse than it needs to be, into get the little one to safety, the little one that experienced that rage, that terror, that violence, that shock. Get him to safety, give him permission to leave that volatile environment and get him the help that he needs. Take good care of him first. Approval of other people second. This comes first. This is your absolute priority. And remember, the more you do this, the safer you're going to feel in your body going forward. And you might be thinking, okay, well, what if it's a situation where I'm speaking in front of people and I can't get out of the conversation, I can't leave, and it's really hard to ask for help? You'd be surprised during a public speaking engagement how easy it is to lean on your audience for help, to ask them, hey, what was I talking about? Or maybe you have coworkers, bosses in the room, supervisors, managers, directors, and you're asking them, hey, what was I talking about there? Can you elaborate on this a little bit more? My mind went blank there. You'd be surprised how much wiggle room there is there. The other thing is, you will have to work on the checking out itself. The blanking out itself, you'll have to work on that mechanism itself if it is in fact, situations where you can't get out of. And if that's the case, I invite you to take a more proactive approach. So don't wait for the fire to go off and then wave your hands around in the smoke, trying to bring yourself back into rational thinking. It's important to work on the trigger itself so that you're not dissociating in the first place. You're in your body and feeling safe in the first place, so the blanking out is not happening in the first place. Empower yourself with that training to do that. Like I was talking about, the link is below the video. It's going to show you how to reduce that social anxiety, reduce the overwhelm going inside, stop the blanking out from happening so that you can be safe in your body, in touch with your inherent worth, safe and secure, comfortable and at ease in your body so that you can express yourself fearlessly, articulate yourself fearlessly in those meetings or in your one-on-one conversations. And if you found the video helpful, please like and subscribe. Here's another video where I talk about more about the physical symptoms of anxiety, 6 physical symptoms. The blanking out is a part of that video. It's gonna help you really understand the different symptoms and why they happen. The blanking out, the racing heart, can't breathe, the feeling like you're not getting any sound and you can't process words. It's gonna help you understand all of those different symptoms. I'd invite you to check that one out next. And if you're still with me, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying until the end. And I will talk to you soon, all right? I'll see you.